Hello and welcome everyone to yet another video of Company Law. In this video, we are going to continue with our case law series. This is going to be the case law number 2, which is Lee versus Lee Air Farming Ltd, which is again a landmark case in the concept of separate legal identity. So, without wasting any time, let's get into understanding the facts of the case of Lee versus Lee Air Farming Company Limited. Now, there was one Mr. Lee who was a qualified pilot. Okay, he incorporated a company named as Lee Air Farming Limited. Okay, he made himself the MD of the company, that is managing director of the company. The majority shareholding was held by Mr. Lee in the company, and he also employed himself as the chief pilot in the company. Once what happened is that when Mr. Lee was flying an plane on an official duty, the plane crashed, and unfortunately, Mr. Lee died in that plane crash. Okay. Now, after this, Mr. Lee's wife, that is the widow of Mr. Lee, demanded an compensation from the company as he died in the course of employment. Since he was flying on the plane on official duty, it was assumed that he was in the course of his employment, and hence a compensation was demanded by Mr. Lee's wife, that is the widow, saying that under the labor laws, a compensation should be paid to her as she lost her husband in the course of his employment of the company. Now, after the claim of compensation, Lee's Air Farming Limited denied the claim to Lee's widow wife, arguing that Lee was not a worker in the company. He was the controlling member of the company. He was the person who was running the company, and he cannot be an employer and employee himself. So he himself being an MD and being a chief pilot, which is an employee which is taking orders from the MD, is not possible as per the company's contention over here. And they say that both the persons are the same, and hence the compensation cannot be awarded in this case. Now, Lee's wife went to the courts. That at that point of time, it was the Privy Council which was sitting, and with the Privy Council, after going through the facts of the case, laid down the legal issues as follows: can a person be employee of a company if he substantially controls and owns the company? First point. Was Mr. Lee in a valid contract of service with his own company? Second point, second legal issue. And the third and the most important legal issue was, should compensation be awarded to Mr. Lee's wife? So all three legal issues are clear. Facts of the case is clear. Now we go to the judgment which has been given by the Privy Council, the decision which has been held by the Privy Council. So the Privy Council over here very clearly stated that the company and Lee was separate legal persons which entered into a contractual relationship under which he became the chief pilot, a servant of the company. So over here, a separate legal identity concept is used by the Privy Council, which was laid down in Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, saying that the company and Mr. Lee are two different legal persons, and there was a contractual relationship under which he became a chief pilot, a servant of the company. The company was capable. If we understand the characteristics of the company is capable of getting into contracts, into agreements, holding property, which is an very important characteristic of a company. And that also has been stated in the decision, saying that the company was capable of entering into a valid contract of employment with Mr. Lee. Okay, so Mr. Lee acted in two separate legal capacities. Okay, this is a very interesting case. He is the MD of the company. He is the controlling member of the company. Also, at the same time, he is the employee of the company. So this was the contention of the company, saying that no, he is the same person. He cannot be an employer and the employee at the same time. He cannot take orders from himself at the same time, which was actually rejected by the decision held by Privy Council, saying that they are separate persons and Mr. Lee is acting in separate legal capacities in each of his role. Okay, under which a managing director, as managing director, he was capable to give orders to himself in another capacity as the chief pilot. Okay, so Mr. Lee was a separate person from the company he formed. Therefore, the widow was entitled to get the compensation. So, what is the conclusion? What is the legal principle which has been established over here? Legal principle is that company has a separate legal personality from its members, shareholders. This is the same concept of separate legal identity. So, my dear students, every time, whenever there is a question which comes on this concept, you have to lay down two case laws in the at least one, and if possible, both the case laws in the paper. One is Salomon versus Salomon Company Limited, and the second case law is Lee versus Lee Air Farming Limited. Air Farming Limited. Okay, so what has happened in this case is that, in effect, the magic of corporate personality, okay, the characteristic of a company which is a separate corporate personality, enabled Mr. Lee to be a master and servant at the same time and enjoy the advantages of both the roles. And hence, the compensation was also awarded to Mr. Lee's widow in this case. Okay, I hope this whole video has been useful to you. I hope you have understood the concept of separate legal identity and also understood this case law, which is Lee versus Lee Air Farming Limited. If this was useful for you, please do subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video with your friends. That gives me more motivation to bring many such useful videos on this channel. Okay, so that's it from me for this particular video. I would be coming up with a similar video very soon. See you there. Thanks a lot.